Just made a Discord server, come check that out, link in the description. Yeah. Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man, two manga slash animes that people have been talking about for a while now. From the story to the world building to the characters, people just love these two stories, and I can't blame them. Now, ever since the release of the Chainsaw Man anime adaptation, people have been merging these two specific animes together for a while now, from the story to characters and many other things as well. I mean, I can't unsee the fact that Aki looks pretty similar to Megami. But one thing that people like to do was power scale these characters, and the most popular and most common one of them all was when they would power scale Makima from Chainsaw Man versus Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Which in a way makes sense. They're both great and recognizable characters and pretty powerful ones too. But in this video, I don't really plan on talking about the power scale between these two, but rather talk about why people such as myself like these two specific characters so much. We're going to take a much more deeper dive in their personalities, their traits, their skills, their backstories, not to mention talk about how these two characters have taken over the anime slash manga story, even though they're not the main protagonist. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Also, if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be awesome. And if you don't like this video, well, there are dozens of other past videos you can go check out, along with upcoming videos that are bound to be great. In order for us to get a better understanding on Gojo and Makima, I must talk a bit about the story that they are placed in. Now, Chainsaw Man case is a pretty simple and laid out story. In a world where devils terrorize the world, the creation of devil hunters are tasked to stop said devils from harming people and the world. Denji, the main protagonist, has the ability to turn into the Chainsaw Man devil after he made a contract with his devil friend Pancha after they were both on the brink of death. Makima, one of the higher ups of the Devil Hunter associations, finds Denji and requires him to work as an official devil hunter under the supervision of her, seeing how he has the ability to turn into a devil with control. Well, now that I think about it, it was less of a request and more if you don't join, you die, so yeah. He's set in a team called Division 4, which is set with many other characters, but the ones more important to the story is Aki, a devil hunter that's made contract with many other devils, and Power, the blood devil fiend that has the ability to control her blood and turn it into weapons. Their main task is not only to take down devils, but to also at one point take down the most fearsome devil of them all, the Gun Devil, which is the devil that has done the most damage to the world. And that's just the general plot of Chainsaw Man. As for Jujutsu Kaisen story, it's a bit different along with has some similarities. Much more traditional shonen if you get what I mean. In a world where curses affect people in their everyday lives, there are teams of Jujutsu sorcerers that take down these cursed entities before they do any real damage. Yuji Itadori, the protagonist of Jujutsu Kaisen, was just a regular guy until he ate a cursed finger that ended up making his body get possessed by a Sukuna, a very powerful cursed entity. Yuji ends up attending Jujutsu High, a school that trains people who have cursed energy and turn those people into Jujutsu sorcerers so they can help the world and stop cursed entities from harming people. Under the teachings of his sensei Gojo Satoru, one of the most powerful Jujutsu sorcerers, Yuji learns to harness his cursed energy and become a Jujutsu sorcerer among his teammates Megami and Nobara, both people with powerful cursed energy and skill. Their task as a group is not only to take down curses, but also, if necessary, go and take down evil Jujutsu sorcerers that mean harm. And that's just a general story of both anime slash manga where Gojo and Makima are set up in. Now, before I go any further, I will say that there are going to be some information about these two characters that have not been shown in the anime adaptation, but rather are still in the manga form. So if you're a person who doesn't want to get spoiled, here's your chance to leave. Now, Gojo and Makima have two pretty big similarities. They're both very strong and they're higher ups, masters in a way, looking over the main protagonist. Now, one character is more in the master way of teaching and training said main protagonist, while the other is more in the sense of having dominant control over him, if you get what I mean. I won't say much, but if you know, you know. As for them being incredibly strong, their sense of strength is to the point where they can pretty much do whatever they really want. Now, Makima is a character that has a very overwhelming power of strength, but she has some sense of control. There are more higher ups within the Devil Hunter Association, which means she still answers to someone and doesn't really use her sense of being strong as a way to get what she wants. At least not at the very beginning. In Gojo's sense, it's much more different. He's one of the strongest Jujutsu sorcerers out there, more stronger than any of the higher ups at Jujutsu High. Other than his overwhelming power of cursed energy, he has an ability called Infinite, which is pretty much this invisible wall of energy that protects Gojo from any sort of powerful attack. Not to mention he has this thing called Six Eyes, which honestly, for making things simple, The guy's power levels is either above or relatively close to a Sharingan. Gojo is constantly stating that he's very powerful, and if the higher-ups don't agree to some of the stuff he says, he has no problem taking them down. And I honestly can't tell if he's joking, telling them a warning, or if he really would do that. But in both cases of both manga, the higher-ups see Makima and Gojo's strength as a threat to them, which is why they plan what to do with them in secret. I mean, in Makima's case, it makes sense. She is a dangerous devil called the Control Devil. I mean, she was planning on taking down some people, so it makes sense for the Devil Association to act. But in Gojo's case, as far as my knowledge is there hasn't actually been any real plot to try and take control of him. But in both cases, their strengths can be seen as threat from not only the enemies, but also the people they work with. And I would say that's pretty cool, but at the other hand, I don't really know. Now, when it comes to backstories for anime characters, specifically people who are seen as teachers, trainers, or just a person that the main protagonist either looks up to or gets taken care of, usually they have some sort of crazy backstory. Now, obviously, it's really going to depend on the setting of the world of the anime and manga. Like, you're not going to hear a backstory on Brock from Pokemon and how his backstory is going to be like, his family was murdered by some Pokemon, so he captures them and trains them and make them fight in battle till they're on the brink of death. No, at least I don't think so. I haven't got up in Pokemon in a hot minute. A crazy backstory is usually set on the similarity levels and balance based on the world said character lives in. And since Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man both live in a world where these dangerous entities basically plague the world, there's bound to be some emotional stirs within the story. Now, in a lot of cases, the way said character's backstory is placed in is what builds up said character's personality and how they act in the future. Like for example, Naruto, being alone for most of his childhood because he had the 9 tails in him, that made him strong and become a better person at times and never let the way people treat him change who he is. In situations like that, there are 2 ways a person can go. They can turn into a good guy or a bad guy. But you never really know how the person is going to turn out in the future even if they have a bad backstory. Now in Gojo and Makima's case, it's a bit different. In Makima's case, she's shown as a very strange person that wants Denji to be under her control. And even though there are times where Makima makes some very questionable choices like not answering Aki's questions or even taking out Mafia's members' family, friends' eyes just to get information just to call what she did a necessary evil, or even killing people like Rez or other people who are in a state where they cannot fight or have surrendered, who are technically the bad guys. She's still bounded by the Devil Association, and we, the viewers, still see her as sort of a good guy. That is until she showed her true colors and, tried to take out Denji's heart, and it really showed herself as a real villain. Which honestly, the build-up of her being fully bad was something that many should have seen miles away. I could only imagine what could have possibly fogged their mind. Yeah. As for information for the actual backstory and why she became as evil as she is now, the only information we got was that she was raised by the Devil Association, which I guess led her into wanting to be evil. I don't really know. Gojo, on the other hand, is 100% good guy. One thing that I really like about Gojo is the fact that he will help people and train people who have high cursed energy, while others at first scan will call those people a threat, like Yuta when he first joined Jujutsu High, and the higher-ups wanted him dead because he had a strong curse that he could not control. And even though Gojo is strong and very powerful, he can sometimes be kind of an idiot, which is another thing I like within manga/anime characters. When characters can be idiots at sometimes their personality be as joyful as said character makes it out, behind those smiles and them being a moron comes this overwhelming power of strength and energy that you would not expect. Actually, nowadays you can sort of tell who's powerful and who's not based on drip. And I mean, look at Gojo. His drip is in all black, he has white hair and is wearing a blindfold. A blindfold. Kakashi had the same drip, only he covered one eye and he was strong as heck. Gojo has both his eyes covered. So, yeah, you do the math. Now, the thing about Gojo is that many people see him as this powerful badass moron Jujutsu sorcerer that is pretty much untouchable. But he wasn't always like this. You see, Gojo was a regular Jujutsu sorcerer, strong because he had the 6 eyes and he was really put on this pedestal as a kid, but can still be taken down. The only way he managed to unlock his true strength and ability was like most anime characters, almost getting killed and through the emotion of being angry. which eventually made him go mad crazy, both in strength and in mind. And the fight where he goes all out when he was a young sorcerer was crazy. Definitely recommend you go check out this fight in the manga. But it was through this fight that he managed to learn and acquire the ability of Infinite and become the unstoppable force sorcerer that is Gojo. I mean, that is until he gets sealed, but we don't talk about that. Now, I know these two characters have nothing really similar whatsoever, and they both come from different stories, but they both come from not only different stories, but great ones. The roles these two play within the story is a pretty great one. One may be a bad guy and the other may be a good person, but at the end of the day, at least for me and many others, they're what make the manga/anime story whole. Also, Gojo would kick Makima's ass. Also, join the Discord. I made it. Come check it out. Link in the description. Okay, bye.